Good early evening. We'll get started here in a few minutes. Good evening. I would like to call the December 8th board meeting to order and ask that you join in a moment of silence. Thank you. And now would you please rise and join in the Pledge of Allegiance? Thank you. And now we will have Director Ewing read our mission statement.
The Waterloo schools will set the standard for urban education by ensuring that every student is given the comprehensive support and diverse experiences needed to graduate with a diploma and a plan.
Thank you, Director Ewing. The next item on our agenda is information from individuals and delegations. This is the opportunity where those who wish to address the school board may do so. Please keep your comments to 3 minutes or less. I will hold up a yellow sign when you have 30 seconds remaining and a red card when your time has expired. At that time, I will ask you to conclude your public remarks. Please also keep your comments respectful and constructive. We are all here with the goal of trying to help our students. Please also avoid criticizing the job performance of specific employees of the district. Personnel matters are confidential and must be handled through the proper channels. Finally, we provide this as an opportunity for public comments, but it is generally not a back and forth conversation, especially of items that aren't on our agenda. We will try to help. Sometimes we will try to help with information before or after meetings, but we must proceed with our board meeting agenda items. With that, I invite anyone who wishes to address the board to come up to the microphone, make sure the green light is on, and start by stating your name and address. Going once? Twice? Oh, all right. We'll move on with our agenda. The next item on our agenda is for information only, and it is a school presentation from the Lincoln Elementary School. We are excited to continue our tradition of spotlighting the outstanding work happening across our school during the 2025-2026 school year. For the past 2 years, these building presentations have been a vital way for the board to hear directly from our students and our building leadership teams. Tonight, we have Principal David Nielsen of Lincoln Elementary School and a few students, I believe, to come and tell us about the wonderful work they're doing at Lincoln Elementary. Make sure the green light is on.
Yep, so I'm David Nielsen, I'm principal, first year at Lincoln Elementary. We have our student lighthouse team here today for our student committee. We do not have Mrs. Kuhlman or Mrs. Nabholz here tonight. They have been working with these students for the last week and a half on this presentation. So our students are going to actually present to you what they are putting together and just talk to you about why leadership is important.
Good evening. My name is Brooklyn and I am in 5th grade. I've been a member of the Lincoln Elementary Student Lighthouse team going on 2 years. The members this school year are myself, Elijah, Raina, Aurora, Jackson, Nala, Braden, and Dion. Ms. Coleman and Ms. Alex support us as future leaders as we meet twice a month.
Our purpose as Student Lighthouse members is to actively promote a culture of leadership within our school by empowering students to embody the 7 habits, actively engage our peers in positive change, and serve as role models for responsible decision making.
Leader in Me is important to us because we like helping others as we learn more about ourselves. We get to be leaders around the school and beyond as we help others know what to do to be better people. It's a positive change in this world, bringing kindness.
The most meaningful habits to us are Habit 5, Habit 1, and Habit 3. It is important to seek first to understand, then to be understood. Too many of us are judged before others know who we really are. We have to be proactive because we always need a plan. When we put first things first, we are working on accomplishing our big rocks.
How has Leader in Me helped us grow as leaders this year? It has helped us do better, shows us what we can improve in ourselves, and has shown us how to grow into leaders for others.
Why do we think it's important for students to help lead assemblies? It shows kids in a positive role, helps us speak in front of a larger crowd, and encourages us to participate more in our classrooms. It helps get rid of stage fright with productivity. It shows how responsible students can be, especially since we know that adults won't always be there, yet students can lead because they know what to do.
Students need to be seen in a positive light by teachers, classmates, and visitors because we represent our school. Being bad is a waste of time. We can show respect towards others and our teachers who do not want to see us in a bad or a sad state of mind.
Our group has a variety of strengths this year. Students Lighthouse team, we take on responsibility, bring positivity and happiness, do our jobs, bring new ideas, and get along with others.
The goals our team has for ourselves this year are to be kind and be great leaders. As it is my last year as a leopard, other goals shared were to improve on the 7 habits, to become confident enough to speak at assemblies, and to continue being a leader.
We want to thank you all for your time tonight and for listening to our presentation. You are all welcome anytime to see us in action on the Student Lighthouse team.
Don't go far and don't get too comfortable. I'm sure these wonderful people up here have some comments and questions for you, so don't get too comfortable down in those seats. So who's starting off this evening? Oh, wow.
No comments,
you-
no questions, but you guys did a great job.
We're not letting you off the hook that easy.
Yeah.
Can the
So-
can the kids come
No,
back up?
no. When the students come, this is where we sit. You may not know, but this is not the easiest place to sit. So when you, as a group or individually, come before us and do as well as you've done, and represent our district and our community as you are, we need to highlight you as much as we possibly can and tell you what a wonderful job that you've done and that you're doing. So we do have a couple of questions for you. At least I do. So can you start off by stating your name again? I know Miss Brooklyn introduced everyone, but we want to hear your name, your grade, so that way we know if you guys are all fifth graders or if you be coming back and participating in the Lighthouse leadership group again. And then what's your favorite or best part about being part of the leadership team?
Can
It may
actually-
sound like a lot, but
Can we just add why you decided to join?
Okay.
With it? Is that okay?
so either one, we'll make it easy. Either one, why you decided to join the Lighthouse team, or what's your favorite part about it?
My name's Freyna and I'm in 4th grade. And my favorite part about being in the Lighthouse team is I get to, work as a group with other kids and in different grades. And I get like more opportunities to, work with the school district and the school board in a different group.
My name is Brooklyn. I'm in 5th grade. And the reason I decided to join the Student Lighthouse is because I think I have like a lot of creativity and leadership.
My name is Elijah, and I'm in 5th grade. And my favorite part is about meeting with different age groups of kids every week.
My name is Aurora and I'm in 4th grade, and my favorite thing and part of the Student Lighthouse team is because we get to show other kids what leadership actually is.
My name is Dion. I'm in 3rd grade. I like being in this leader and me because we like showing what kindness matters.
Hey, all right, you got it.
My name's Jackson and I'm in 4th grade, and my favorite part of the Student Lighthouse team is making a difference in the school.
I feel like one of the reasons why I didn't have questions is because you did such an awesome job presenting. So great job. You're representing Lincoln very well in the Waterloo Community School District. Thank you.
So how many years have you been at Lighthouse School?
Good question. So that's there's a deeper answer to that, but this is our second year with students.
Take care what?
This is our second year with students.
Oh, okay.
So,
okay.
yep, this is
All
our
right.
second year of having a student lighthouse committee that get to help make decisions and run assemblies and that type of stuff.
And how is that administered? When do they get together? How often? And all
Yep.
that
So once a week, once every other week, they get together at the end of the school day with Mrs. Kuhlman and Mrs. Nabholz, and they discuss things from student jobs that we want to potentially roll out to planning for assemblies, and even family events.
So this is after school?
No, it's at the end of the school day.
Okay.
So the last half hour of the school day, they get dismissed from class and go to their committee group.
So how does a student become a member of the Lighthouse team?
Yep. So we have an application process that our staff lighthouse team puts out there. And then based on interviews, students get to go through those because that's a life skill. They also have references, and so we check those references as well. And most of them are former teachers that they had in the building, but it's overall a process that just kind of gives them the experience of having a job.
So how many are there and how many can there be?
Ooh, good question. How many do we have? 8, 9? Perfect. So we have 9, 8. We want to keep it below 10.
So, I can say, since the short time I've been here, for presentation wise, you students were just right on point. You know, I mean, I just love the simple fact that everything flowed. You was ready. You was prepared. When you talked about different leadership skills and that kind of thing, you definitely displayed that. So I think each and every one of y'all need to be happy, because those are some of the things that I guess we adults have to do a presentation and everything else. You just knocked it out of the park. I just love the fact that man, I just loved it. So I just wanted to kind of mention that to you. You know, the other thing, what got me excited was, you mentioned about those two habits that are real important, right? And I want to say it was habit 5, and what was the other one? Habit 1, and the 1 was about making sure not being misunderstood or whatever. Be proactive, and then 5 was what? Right. So just now, how you're prepared for that, awesome job. So great job, everyone.
And I would add, I think, in addition to their prepared remarks, was their ability to think on their feet. When you ask the questions, you know, you thought about it and answered in a very articulate way. So that was impressive to me.
What do the sashes say? I think they look so good. They should come get a picture with the board. Don't you guys think?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So while you guys are coming up, we do want to get a photo. I could be a little biased. I was a former Lincoln Leopard years ago, but something that resonated and stuck with me. One of you said, "Being bad is a waste of time." And I think when you're talking to, and you can make your way up, and then we'll take a picture. But when you're talking to other students in your building and you're exhibiting those leadership qualities and behaviors, that phrase can go a long way with your students in the building. So being bad is a waste of time. So I'll take that with me as well. All right, go and get a photo op. You know I don't want that stuff you need. Surgery.
Here, after. I bring a phone drink.
And before we go on, a huge thank you to the parents as well. We know at this age they can't get there on their own, can't get there here on their own. So we want to thank you, parents, as well, for supporting your children and bringing them.
Yeah, come down
Thank
on
you.
a cold, nasty, weather night to get them here.
So moving right along with our board agenda, the next item on our agenda is the Waterloo Hotel Motel Tax Grant in support of the Battle of Waterloo. Pursuant to Board Policy 701.9, donations over $2,500 must be approved by the Board of Education. Waterloo Schools would like to recognize and thank Experience Waterloo for the Hotel Motel Tax Grant in the amount of $15,000 in support of the 15th Annual Battle of Waterloo. And we have, let me get I did that. And I see, you ready to talk? We have any comments before I call Ms. Jacobs up? Good. Okay, so on behalf of the board, we would like to thank the Experience Waterloo for continuing to support the Battle of Waterloo. The Battle of Waterloo, in its 15th year, is one of the premier, probably the premier wrestling event, high school wrestling event in the state of Iowa. And that'll be coming up next weekend, I believe. Weekend after next. So a wonderful event. We have student athletes from all over the state of Iowa that come to Waterloo for a 2-day event. 3-day event.
Girls on Thursday,
that's right.
boys Friday and Saturday.
We're adding girls, so a three-day event now.
And the Hall of Fame is Wednesday night.
Wednesday, Thursday,
Yeah,
Friday,
the Hall of
Saturday.
Fame ceremony on Wednesday night.
And that's at the museum. The Dane Museum, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so
I think
It's-
it
it's
was. Plus I knew.
with the addition of the female wrestling, it's turning into a much larger event. So now it's a 4-day event. So we want to thank Experience Waterloo for still supporting the Battle of Waterloo.
You know, it won't be long before the girls are going to need 2 days too at the rate
Oh,
they're
absolutely.
growing. 24 teams. I remember.
You're at our bigger facility to handle more. Interesting this year, if anybody is coming, Frank Jasper is going to be in attendance for all 3 days.
Okay.
I don't know anybody familiar with actor Frank Jasper, but if you're a wrestling person, he played the character Shoot on the Vision Quest movie back in the 80s. So he's they got it set up so he can be visiting here and doing autographs and different things. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Nice. Like I said, this is a huge event. Brings a lot of tourism and excitement to the Waterloo area, and we get to host it. So it's always exciting for the Battle of Waterloo to come around.
Does this grant offset how much of the cost? Jesse, do you know?
I don't know that specific on it. So I mean,
Well-
anything is helpful, right? So
Yeah.
I mean, we're already using Young Arena for 3 days, so, and that's the cost. And we use there's a specific wrestling program called Track Wrestling. And, they have computers that are live broadcasting this with video and scoreboards that are linked in. So I mean, that's not something we own; it's something we rent from a person that does that. I mean, it wouldn't make sense to own all that equipment if you only use it once a year. And then the mats are not. Those use special mats that are not our mats. I mean, we had to have 8 of them down, so that's owned by the Cedar Valley Sports Commission, for my recollection. So that I'm assuming that's a rental cost in there too. So all kind of things that run a tournament this big that, I think the first year before they had these style mats, we had to get borrow mats from other schools and stuff to be able to have enough to, within our district plus extra. So.
Stacy, what I was going to say is I'm on the Experience Waterloo board, and I didn't really know about this grant until I joined the board a year ago. But basically, any big event that draws people to Waterloo, you're able to apply for money to support your event, as long as you can kind of prove how many people you're bringing to town. And so clearly for a 3-day event with that many teams, boys and girls, we were able to prove that's actually one of the bigger grants that they hand out. So it's just kind of a way to give back to events that bring people to Cedar Valley. That's also part of the, like I said, the hotel tax comes back to us on part of that. So yeah, it's a really cool thing. And there's probably a dozen different events that they help, they give money to. So yeah.
Do we have a lot of teams that come and stay?
Yeah, like there's enough of them far enough away that, you know, like Southeast Polk and, you know, I'm sure Iowa City, you know, places they're not going to do a 2-day. So I think Davenport Assumption been there. There's plenty of schools outside the area. And I think I'm trying to remember Hall of Fame this year. They got Hall of Fame this year. I forgot the list there.
Our own Pam Arndorfer.
Pam is in
on
one,
the
and
list.
Deb, I think, is yes. And in that list
The
there, and
Dickey
Laura Lee.
family.
Laura Lee.
Let me,
Marcus Harrington's in the list this year. The
Dion.
Salas family.
Dion Reed. I'm gonna find it real quick. Keep talking, you guys.
Salas family being recognized. The Dickey family being recognized. Marcus Harrington. The Battle of Waterloo support team there. Deb and Pam. Huh? I don't know. Okay.
So will there be an ability for them to come visit at a board meeting then, so that we can, or at least maybe we can bring pictures or something to show at a board meeting of the Hall of Famers?
Oh,
They usually have
Yeah.
a video. It's a video they usually put together because it plays during the event on the top during.
Okay.
Yeah, we usually unless something changes, they usually put a video and they broadcast that during the intercessions and different pieces of it. So
How many teams did we start with when this first started?
it's always been a 32 team. It's been the format
Really?
for boys.
Right from the beginning?
Now girls, they think they might have started with the first year for girls might have been 12 or so. So the girls team got big enough to that. So 24, that's about what they could do in a day. 32 teams is a format that they borrowed from, I think it's the Clash up in Minnesota up there that does that. But it basically, each team gets a total of 6 matches over the 2 days on the boys side. The first day they're in brackets and you finish here 1 through 8, and then the second day all the teams that got first place are in one round robin, second place in another round robin, third place, and so forth. So the second day, you're always kind of grouped with 4 teams that are about your similar performance level. So,
all right.
So
A lot.
thank you, Experience Waterloo.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Any more on the Battle of Waterloo? All right. So all those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. Congratulations. You're back in the back. So moving on. Now it is. The next item on our agenda is our consent agenda. Tonight's consent agenda consists of 3 items. Item 1, approval of minutes of the November 24th, 2025 regular board meeting. Item 2, personnel appointments and adjustments. And item 3, bills due and payable and bills paid between board meetings. Are there any items that board members want to see removed? Going once? Seeing none, can we get a motion to approve items 1, approval of minutes of the November 24th, 2025 regular board meeting. Item 2, or the consent agenda, excuse me, to approve the consent agenda as is.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the consent agenda state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. That brings us to the next item on our agenda. Item 9, SBRC modified allowable growth request for open enrollment out, students not counted in prior year, and funding for English learner EL instruction beyond 5 years. It is the superintendent's recommendation that open enrollment out not on prior year's head count, the district's administration is authorized to submit a request to the School Budget Review Committee for a modified supplemental amount of $956,801 for open enrolled out students who were not included in the district's previous year certified enrollment count.
Second.
Is it separate? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Oh, yep, it does. So, moved by Stacy. Can we get a second?
Second.
Matlock. And are there any questions? Our own JT Anderson, we'll do them separate. So our own JT Anderson can give us a little bit more information on this.
Yeah, so this is an application that's due December 1st of every year. So if you were on the board last year, you saw this particular item come to your attention as well. But basically, this first part is related to open enrollment. Basically, if there were students that were not on our account last year but are now open enrolled out, we can receive a modified supplemental amount for those dollars. And you can kind of see the calculation there on the agenda. We have a 112.1. Again, it's weighted. Certified enrollment is interesting like that, where there's weightings. But anyway, it's 112.1, and then you multiply those 4 different categories, and you come up with that $956,801. Last year's amount was $390,529.
So what's the PD? Can you explain that?
Yeah, so that's the categorical funding that follows students that are open enrolled. So there's the regular program student cost, which is the $7,988. And then the categorical funding is the TLC stands for teacher leadership, the EIC stands for early intervention, and then the PD is just professional development. So those are the cost per pupil for the categoricals. And again, they follow the student whichever district they're attending.
So all of this follows the student.
Yep.
Okay.
And so this again is an authority request. It increases our spending authority. It does not increase our tax rate or anything like that. It is simply an allowable request that we can bring to the SBRC for additional authority. Yep.
So are these all weighted at 1?
The weighting is going to depend. A lot of them are going to be 1.0, but if they're homeschooled, it could be 0.3. So I don't have that breakout exactly, Lyle, but that's where you get kind of the different fractions.
So we had a considerable amount between last year to this year.
Yes and no. Basically these are students that weren't counted as of October 1st of last year. They may have come in October 2nd, and we didn't get them on the counts. The difference is actually, if you look at our certified enrollment numbers, our open enrollment kids going out has actually decreased a little bit from last year. But these certain kids were not on our count on count day a year ago, so we get that.
So on a particular count day, they just wasn't counted.
Correct.
But they was actually.
Yep.
So it could be a kid that moved in November that not really not open enrollment. When we think of the open enrollment, it could be they're enrolled into our district at a later.
Yep. So we did not get to count them officially as part of our certified enrollment. So this is essentially making up for that.
But we educated them and had incurred costs for them during that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So for homeschooled, we only count those that we provide some service to. Is that right?
If they are attending another district in a different district's homeschool assistance program, and they're our resident kiddo, they would be counted as part of our certified enrollment, but we would have to pay 0.3 of the cost to that other district if they're enrolled in that homeschool assistance program.
But if they're in our district and homeschooled, we don't know how many or who they are, right?
If they're homeschooled.
If they're part of our, if they are enrolled in our homeschool assistance program, we do know who they are. But there could be students that are not part of our HSAP program that are still homeschooled, just not part of the Waterloo programming.
But if they're in our district, and do we provide some service to all of them, testing or something like that?
That
we talked about this during policy review recently, and there are homeschool kids who there's no record of them at all. If their
Yes.
parents choose to
Right, so
homeschool
we
them, they
wouldn't-
don't, and the parent is not a certified teacher, then they don't have to register. We don't have anything to do with them, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Typically, we provide some evaluation service, don't we?
If it's requested, I honestly, Amy would probably be able to speak better on this
Yeah,
than
that
me.
sounds like
It's
teaching and
been
learning, not the.
a couple of years since I was in the building, but what we would have to do for any homeschool kid is they have to take the state assessments through us, so we would work with them to do that. But that's not a service we would receive any funding for though either. That's just a requirement of them being a student.
So we get zero funding, not like a tenth or anything for those?
For if they're not part of our,
Oh.
no, we wouldn't get any funding.
Good questions. Are there any more questions or comments? So all those in favor of approving the open enrollment out, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye, motion carried. Iowa Code Section 282.1810 allows a district of residents to apply for modified allowable growth MAG to the School Budget Review Committee SBRC for the following reasons. Item 2, ELL, LEP, instruction beyond 5 years. Districts may request MSA for the cost of providing instructional services to limited English proficient LEP students being served beyond the 5 years of waitings. Get a motion?
So moved.
Matlock and Ewing. And JT?
Can we redo that motion? If we go to the top of that agenda item, number 2, we need to say the amount of the
Oh,
modified.
I'm sorry. My apologies. My apologies. Yep. The superintendent's recommendation, the limited English proficiency LEP instruction beyond 5 years. The district's administration is authorized to submit a request to the School Budget Review Committee for a modified supplemental amount of $543,184 related to the English language learning program for students who have exceeded 5 years of waiting that are included on the fall 2024 certified enrollment headcount. So Mills and Ewing. Okay, take it away.
Thank you. So this particular item, normally several years back, the EL waiting for kiddos was only for 5 years. The state realized and through district lobbying that, hey, there are certain EL students that require more services and more time for that. So they allow this particular request for those students that are beyond those 5 years. So you can see for us, that's 315 students. There's 278 at the intermediate level and then 37 at the intensive level. I can't speak to how they determine that. That's more of a question for Simona. But that in total, we have about 1,400 EL students. So this represents, again, 315 of those kiddos. And the amount, as Astor said, is $543,184.
So about 25-30% go beyond the 5 years.
Correct.
I think from what Simone has said, some of it just is dependent on the age when they come. Like it can take long, But she's definitely the expert to ask. Does this mean though that Jared, so we're providing with the waiting, does this just mean that they're being pulled out? Is that what that means? Or that we're just giving some extra service, right?
Well, it could be like,
Well, that's what I didn't know if there's an extra instructor in the room.
well, if it's an ELL class, right, it may be multiple kids, different languages there, so they're, better.
But a lot of these kids are in a class, in a mainstream room by then.
Well, it could be, some of it is the programs that Bunger and West House as well. So, I mean, it looks completely different than just a regular classroom. So it's more intensive.
And something we're
Yeah.
working on, just a little bit of a segue there, is we are working at, there's some changes that are coming forward next year, which I know that this group is a little bit aware of in terms of our placement of students. That's something we've been working through. Right, Astor did a great job of explaining Bunger and West High is where we posted most of our secondary students in terms of the higher level needs. Next year, we're re-examining that kind of because of the transportation conversation about the toll it's taking on transportation to get those kids located. So that was one thing we talked about maybe preparing to share with you guys tonight, where we weren't quite ready. But you can see the different levels of weighting based on those two different levels there within the notes here.
Yeah.
And these are beyond our newcomers, right? Because these are kids who've been here beyond 5 years.
Correct.
Is newcomer just up to 3 years or is it 5? Do you remember?
I don't know, and I'm not saying there are some students newcomers who end up staying in the program longer. You know, when you hear newcomers, you're
Right,
thinking, oh,
right.
they're just going to be there for a year. Some of them are so far behind on the English language that
Yeah.
it takes them time. So,
Well, it's kind of I think part of the challenge is, one is we're, mastering the English language, but also we don't necessarily always know where they're at in their skill level of their native language, right? I mean, they might be 10 years old, but they may not, depending on what kind of education they had in their home country, they may not have been able to learn their own native language that far. I mean, they may only have like a 5-year-old level in their own native language. So now you're not only bridging the gap to our language, but also bringing them up to the appropriate age level too. So there's, it's kind of twofold in that. And depending on what's going on in the country that's bringing them here, if it's refugee situation where they may not have been in school for several years, so.
Any more questions on that? So all those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. That brings us to the next item on our agenda, item 10, the 2024-2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. And I see Dustin is making his way up here. It is the superintendent's recommendation that the Board of Education accept the recommendation of the District Finance Committee to receive and place on file the Waterloo Community School District 2024-2025 Annual Comprehensive Financial Report. Okay, and we have Dustin Opatz from Bergen KDV here to give us a little bit more information on this. This is something that we do annually. So take it away, Dustin.
Okay, thank you so much. So my name is Dustin. I'm an audit director with Bergen KDV, and I'm here to present the FY25 audit. If you have any questions as I go through my presentation, feel free to interrupt me. I have such a passion for school district finance that if nobody stops me, I'll just kind of blow through the whole thing, usually without taking a breath. So I start with the different reports that we issue. The first one being the independent auditor's report. It's essentially what you pay us for. It's to come in, test, examine, issue an opinion on your financial statements. So we do give an unmodified opinion, which is the best we're allowed to give as your auditors. It states that everything is fairly presented in all material respects. A couple other reports that we issue is the government auditing standards report. So because you are a school district in the state of Iowa, we're required to look a little bit closer at compliance with laws, contracts, grant agreements, and internal controls. And so that first sub-bullet point, no internal control findings related to that test work. That second sub-bullet point, the state auditor gives us a series of checklists of state statute to check compliance with. And so from an audit standpoint, they're immaterial, but from their standpoint, statutory requirements, we're required to present them to you. And so we had 3 findings related to that test work. The first one being expenditures exceeded budgeted amounts in 2 functions. So we'll see that a little later, but in the state of Iowa, not only are your expenditures in total required to come under budget, but there are 4 individual functions where they're also required to come under budget. So there were 2 specific functions that exceeded their budgeted amounts. The second sub-bullet point related to enrollment. So on your 10,000 students, you were off by 3, right? So it's not something that we're concerned about, just something we're required to report. And then the very last one, there were 2 funds that did have deficit fund balances. The general fund, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, and then the internal service fund was also in deficit. So that second bullet point, so single audit, because you expend more than $750,000 of federal funds, we're required to pick on those programs. So you see there, it says not issued. It's nothing that the district did wrong. It's nothing that we did wrong. The federal government didn't give us the compliance supplement, which means we weren't allowed to issue any single audit reports. Nobody in the entire country was allowed to. So that was released, I think, a week or two ago. And so we'll be able to get that out shortly. It's just not in time for this meeting. And that's kind of the approach we've taken across the state, is we've been issuing everything else and not holding everything else up, because for a while there, it didn't look like the thing was going to come out until 2026 or later. So just wanted to, but we don't anticipate any issues coming from that test work, but just wanted to give you a heads up on.
So you'll issue that in retrospect?
So it will be dated sometime in December probably, but yes. I'm also recovering from a little bit of a cold, so bear with me here. So from there, we start looking at enrollment. So your regular program district cost per pupil. So in 2025, you received a 2.5% increase, and in 2026, you'll receive a 2.1% increase. And we go from there to student counts. So certified enrollment. Overall, a year-over-year increase of about 33 students, but a 5-year decrease of about 135 students. The next few slides look at the general fund. So starting with revenues, total general fund revenues of just under 153 million, which was a $6.2 million increase. State revenues increased related to that increase in that regular program district cost per pupil. Federal revenues increased related to an increased Title I entitlement. And then local sources decreased related to a decrease in investment income related to the decrease in cash balance, offset by an increase in property tax revenue for the general fund. On the expenditure side, total expenditures increased 4.2 million or 2.5%. Special education expenditures increased related to an increased number of employees as well as an increase in salary and benefit costs. Transportation expenditures increased related to just that annual contract escalator related to transportation. And then regular education expenditures increased related to just annual cost of living adjustments. That very bottom one, that AEA flow through, related to changes in legislation, less money is being flowed through to the AEA, and will probably continue becoming less and less, so you'll probably see that number keep declining. We also look at expenditures by function. So the big ones that we focus on are the green, the brown, the gray, and then that other shade of brown. So those together we consider instruction. And so those made up a total of about 65% of expenditures for the district, which is pretty in line with what we see across the state. And we wrap all that up with a general fund operations discussion, kind of like a 5-year snapshot. And so revenues were up 4.2%, expenditures were up 2.5%. Overall, the fund balance did decrease about $20.2 million. And so the very bottom right number is the total amount of fund balance in the general fund, and it currently sits at negative 6.8 million, and negative 8.3 million unassigned. We next look at the tax levy and the tax rate. Both increased slightly year over year. Nothing I really wanted to touch on there. We also look at the school nutrition fund. So the school nutrition fund is an enterprise fund. It's expected to operate similar to a business. Hopefully the amounts that you're being reimbursed from the state and federal government are enough to cover the operations of the fund. And so 2022, 2023, those are prime COVID years, right? You were receiving extra funding from the federal government for supply chain assistance and higher reimbursement rate and all those good things. And then 2025 is kind of the first completely normal year where you're not getting any additional funding. And it's, reimbursement rates are back to normal. And so that fund, that very bottom right number, that fund still is generating a surplus of about $255,000 for this year. And that's with a transfer out of $445,000 to the general fund for indirect cost. So I bring it up to districts just to keep an eye on it, because your funding has come back down to a normal level, but the amounts you're paying for food and salaries and things, those are still elevated just because of the environment we're in. And so it's good to see this fund is still in a surplus, and at the end of the year had about $2.7 million available for spending. But
what was the net transfers for?
Indirect cost. So part of those programs is you're allowed to take a certain percentage of the total meals or the total non-meal costs and allocate it back to the general fund essentially. So that 445,000, if you looked at the general fund, would be a transfer in. Good question. The last slide is this budget to actual, and so if you look at expenditures, the instruction and support, and go all the way to the right, those are the two categories that you got dinged for as far as being over the budget. Overall expenditures were under budget, 34 million, mostly related to budgeting higher for construction costs than what you ended up expending during the year. And then revenues were right on budget, 0.04% off. So above is close to $69,000 on a $180 million revenue budget. So can't ask more than that. And this is me. This is how you would get a hold of me. The school finance is wild, so if there's ever anything I can do to make your lives or jobs easier, I'm absolutely here to support you all. But I'll take any questions if you have them.
Could you touch on our ending balance being negative? Is that something that happens in districts? Is it something that's happening more often because of the state we're in, or is this unusual?
I would just, it's not something that I've seen before. The reason, and so the largest driver of the deficit is the ESSER dollars going away. And the other districts that I work with just didn't receive as many ESSER dollars as Waterloo did. So they, when those dollars went away, it didn't hurt them as bad, right? And so from that standpoint, it's not something I've seen before.
Would there be anything that, in your opinion, kind of, here goes a couple good things and here goes a couple things that you need to watch out for?
Yeah, so the thing to watch out for, which I'm sure you're all very aware of, is the state of the general fund, right? And the fact that it's negative. Currently your unspent balance isn't negative, but and I know something that JT and Jared are watching very closely, but obviously it's trending that way, and all sorts of bad things happen when that happens. So it's just something to keep an eye on. Good things, no internal control findings. That's pretty rare for us. I mean, you have a pretty sizable finance team compared to smaller districts, so that helps. You're able to segregate duties and keep things in good shape. So yeah, I would say, yeah.
Thanks.
Are there any more questions for Dustin?
No, but thank you, Dustin, for, especially, we had a chance to meet with him during finance committee and he answered a bunch of our questions too. So thank you always, Dustin.
Of course.
And that's just been standard to be able to ask Dustin the questions. So we appreciate you stopping in. I'm starting to seem like we're seeing you a lot, which is good. Yeah. Yep.
Happy to help.
Stay on it. So we appreciate you and all your work and your team.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to JT and his team for getting everything ready for us. It's always in such nice shape when we get into it. So we appreciate all the work.
Good. Thanks, JT. We appreciate that too.
All right, very good.
Okay. So all those in favor of approving the superintendent's recommendation, state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. That ends our action items for the evening. And now on to Dr. Smith and our superintendent's report.
Well, I'll be honest, not a whole lot of new information here. I did just a minute ago forward our attendance data, and we are still currently ahead of last year's pace. So and again, that just came to your inbox, but we're down another 1.4% from compared to last year at the same exact day. So we're down to 17.76. Am I looking at the right tab? Actually, I'm sorry. I was looking at the wrong tab. We're down 1.5%, and we are at 18% chronic absenteeism. We still have a ways to go, absolutely. But we're seeing some great gains. I'm going to give some individual shout outs to a few buildings that are going above and beyond. Becker right now, year over year, is down over close to 6%. Highland is down 5%. Kittrell's down 5%. I would say those are the outliers. Irving's down 4%. And West High, will give secondary some love here, is down 3.4%, and East is down 3.3%. So that's definitely been a focus of ours. The other thing I was going to bring up is a really good conversation last week. A group of leaders had a chance to go to McElroy Foundation and just kind of talk about the needs of the district. And we talked about the high school project a little bit on some things that could be coming down the road for that. But we actually divvied out three different ideas we came to McElroy with. And those three ideas were to continue to support our robotics program. Our robotics program is outstanding. We've got more than 30 teams, but those cost money. And so we did have an ask for McElroy on that. The second thing that we asked, or that we talked about, was our just everything we do with mental health. So Sheena and her team put together a presentation on mental health and just talked about the different, not necessarily positions, but things that go along with our program that, like, hey, if there's a need here, if you want to help support it. And the third thing was, which I think is music to some of your ears, is as we go into the new high school, the transition between 6, 7, 8, 9, and then the transition between 8, 9, and 10, 12. So so that was three different. We got feedback that Jim Waterbury was there, kind of your who's who of philanthropists in the district, and they gave us really good feedback. Also remember that they have helped pay for Life Labs program the last several years, and that is, in terms of their commitment, that's winding down, but we are still committed to seeing that program through. Well, maybe it's not to the extent it was a few years ago when we were going to Des Moines and going to Minneapolis and so forth. It's more local now to save some money, but they are very happy to hear that that program is still going. Some of the people who helped kind of brainstorm that idea were in the room, and so they were very thankful that former school board president Mike Young was in there. Just the who's who, like I said. But on top of McElroy, we also had, it's called the Union Block. So it's actually the Otto Scheutz, the Waterloo Foundation, and then who's the third one? That's it. Blackhawk Gaming and McElroy are all in one spot downtown. So we actually said, could all the presidents, the CEOs, the chairman of each program come in and hear from us? And they said, we need to do more of this. We need to come together as community philanthropists and making sure that our school's needs are being met. So this is going to be the start of a bigger conversation that went really well. It was we put a lot of time and effort into that presentation, and it was just, I want to make sure you knew that. I think I sent a couple pictures or something, but either way, wanted to kind of share that with you. So we are searching for alternative ways for money is one big takeaway that you guys all need to hear. And that's it.
Jared, can we see the PowerPoint on mental health? Is that something you might be able to share with us?
I will share the presentation with all of you, and then what you'll see is towards the bottom on those slides, you'll have links to all three asks, if that makes sense. So you can click right into what was proposed. Does that sound good? Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Tonight we'll start with Director Knight for board comments.
Well, I'm gonna come in here. Good to see the work on the attendance here. Hopefully those numbers stay trending down with weather and illness and stuff going on. It's gonna make some challenges, so families just try to, best you can get your kids there as long as they're healthy. We don't need to spread germs around the buildings either. So just hope that data trends the right way, because the best way for learning is to be there to have your education. So.
All right. Thank you, Director Knight. Director Ewing.
Thanks to everybody who put together something for this meeting. I know how much work it is. It's like an entire project to get something on this agenda and to have it fully briefed and to be ready. Thanks to the finance team for getting all of that to the auditors. And everybody have a safe and wonderful holidays, because I think this is the last time we have one of these meetings before we have some holidays.
Thank you, Director Ewing. Director Cox.
Thank you. I would just like to touch on just a couple things. As we have this moment to say something, I mentioned about challenging parents and challenging us. And so one thing that kind of came up was leadership. And just in a quick nutshell, leadership is guiding and influencing, supporting others. At the end of the day, with that leadership, if you do not have trust, you do not have leadership. So I'm just I'm just putting it out there for everyone to do a self-check. A self-check on the simple fact that, where's that trust level with my staff, with my school? What's the trust level with the teachers? What's the trust level with the kids? Tonight, I think the kids there at Lincoln, they displayed that leadership. And I think there was trust behind them talking. So yeah, I'm challenging administrators across the district to look in the mirror and ask themselves, where's that trust barometer at? There's no pointing fingers here. I'm just challenging how we can become better. And I think we have to, as we go into this transitional stage, if we're not challenging ourselves of how we can become better, if we're just going to sit there and look like everything's fine, I'm here to tell you, we have some challenges ahead. We have some real challenges ahead. So I wanted to touch on that. So I can't leave the parents out. So challenge for the parents. And I thought this was a little strange, but I guess there's a small percentage out there. It's not large, small percentage. In so many words, some of you parents that have us on blocking our numbers, unblock us. Unblock us. Because we're trying to get in touch with you concerning your son or daughter. It might sound a little funny, but guess what? It's happening to our register office, our attendance people. We're being blocked. So unblock us because we need a relationship with you. Unblock us because we need communication with you. Unblock us because at the end of the day, we need to build on trust, and you need to build on some trust with us. So I just want to throw those two things out there, dealing with our district and also with parents. When they mentioned about blocking numbers, I was like, really? Huh? Yeah, it's true. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Cox. Director Matlock.
My comments tonight actually kind of go with Director Cox's just a little bit, but I also want to remind us that we are a great team. And so I have these little cards for all of us here, just to remind us that we are a great team. Together, we make a great team. And that includes our board of directors, our superintendent, our administrators, our teachers, our support staff, our district leadership team, our parents, and all of our Waterloo Community School district. We are a great team, and I want us to, don't you never forget that we make a difference. And so it's just a quick reminder. So it goes hand in hand with our challenges, but also just to remember that we're a team. And I'm looking, I don't know, after the IASB conference, I really want to focus on getting to know, for us to get to know each other better. Because I do think as we make decisions as a team, we have to make hard decisions. We have celebrations together, like Lincoln coming in tonight. But in order for us to build that trust that you're talking about, I truly believe that we need to get to know each other better. So when we make decisions and we say things, it's coming from a place of love and coming from a place because we care. So I just want to remind us that we're a great team. I'm looking forward to these next 4 years with you all, working together and getting to know each one of you. And I also have candy canes, and I probably have enough for the crowd. So happy holidays to everyone, and looking forward to working with this team.
Wow. Wow. Yep. Thank you, Director Matlock. Thank you. Director Mills.
So, like Crystal, I came back from IASB, as I always do, very motivated and invigorated and full of ideas. And I know that other board members are kind of used to me bubbling all my ideas and then trying to figure out which ones we can make work. So there is one session I went to that I would really like to touch on. It is called Community Conversations. It's something that they do in Muscatine, creating space for community dialogue and engagement. So the way that they do it is they typically have 2 board members assigned per month, and then whoever from DLT is interested in coming. The purpose is really to allow the public to come in and discuss hot topics in a relaxed, open setting. They encourage candid, respectful dialogue, build understanding, trust outside of a formal setting. So relationships are forged. The public feels like they have actual access to the leaders of the school district. The way that they discussed it was they often begin with what's on your mind. And I think these are discussions that we each already have in the community often. So I'd like us to explore the possibility of seeing if this would be something that we would like to do on a more purposeful level. Also, congratulations to Dave Boson, and I'm looking forward to working with the mayor and bringing him in to working with the district. I'll be sad to not work with Mayor Hart, but Waterloo is one, and we all work together no matter what. Finally, looking at the auditor's report is hard. It's hard. It's disheartening. Hearing Dustin say this is not something that he sees is even more disheartening. But reading articles from across the state, enrollment is down. Funds from the state do not equal the inflation that we have to deal with. So there's a lot going on. I would like to say that our district leadership team and our superintendent, Dr. Smith, are working very, very diligently to do everything that they can with our budget. But I do just want to acknowledge to our stakeholders, to our staff, to our students, to our community, we understand the weight of this and the heaviness of this, and I go to sleep with it at night as if it were my own personal debt that I'm dealing with. So I just wanted to acknowledge that very, very, very large, ugly elephant in the room. So have a great holiday, everybody.
Thank you, Director Mills. Director Schmidt.
Yeah, first, just to follow up a little bit on what Stacy is saying. Yes, we are in a difficult situation, but we're fortunate that we have a long-term master plan to work to, and one that promises on the district becoming more efficient financially, being able to deliver more with less. So that's solid. As you referenced, some districts don't have that yet, and it would be very difficult to be developing that under the conditions we are right now. So we're fortunate in that respect. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas to all. To teachers and parents in particular, whatever you celebrate, Hanukkah, Christmas, whatever else, make it meaningful, make it joyful. A component to the mental health of our students when they return are memories. And so make them fond memories of celebration, especially Christmas, both secular and and spiritual. So make the holidays a time of joy and remembrance, peace, love, hope. Let these be the virtues that carry over when our students come back to school and influence their attitude. I also have a New Year's resolution on challenge, as Jonathan would put it, to invite every teacher and parent to consider. This might be a little preachy, but bear with me. Resolve to install optimism in every student, every hour of every day. Their mental state is being challenged, and it impacts their ultimate success. A positive state of mind. We need a positive state of mind to really be excited about learning and to learn most effectively. So that's so important and becoming even more important. So just foster instilling hope and vision. Mentioned that many times, hope and vision. And education is for the future. Don't let past or current problems, don't involve students in those. That means leaving adult problems to adults. Do not burden or depress kids. We don't need them coming to school with your problems on their mind. As adults, we know the world's not perfect, but we've got perspective. Some of these students don't. If you're 8 years old, you only know what you've heard recently. And we know we live in a time and place of unlimited opportunity. It really is, if you think about it. Really, where else do you have more opportunity right now than right here? Again, kids have a limited but education is for the future, not the past and not the present. And it means not living vicariously through your kids. That's always tempting. So whatever gripes you have, for whatever reason, it's not their gripe. Leave them out of it. So I refer to an old adage. Kids should be seen and not heard. It was kind of interesting as I went through habit 1 of 7 habits of Steve Covey, to understand before being understood. That's really what that's saying. Kids should be seen and not heard. They should understand first. The first part of that is so much important than the second, more important than the second. Kids should be seen. What that means is they should be around adults to be learning, listening. But there's a caveat to that. If your adult conversation is constantly complaining and hating on people, make sure the kids aren't there. If it's normal stuff, good things, day-to-day living, how to succeed in the world, make sure the kids are there. Kids should be seen. Kids should be seen and not heard. Anyway, that's one of my favorite expressions. At first, it seems kind of harsh. When you really think about it, there's a lot of wisdom in it. Merry Christmas, everyone. That's the end of that.
Yes. Thank you, Director Schmidt. As I sat here, I really didn't have anything jotted down for board comments. So I allowed my fellow board members to put some thoughts in my head. And in this season, I want to focus on the positives. We talked about in Crystal, or Director Matlock requested that we get the mental health information and during the holiday times, it's often jovial for a lot of us, but then there's a group that could possibly be going through some things. So I want to take this time to focus on the positives that we have. And thank you, Principal Nielsen, for sticking around. Because part of that is what I seen earlier from your students and your leaders in your building. And the positivity that that they brought in reference to leadership and what they want their building to look like. And I believe that's what everyone on this dais wants our community to look like. And it says a little child should lead them. So very appreciative of your team, your Lincoln team, and the staff that are working with those young people. And that's just a piece. That's just a small piece of the district and the community as a whole. I really started jotting down what I was going to say when I received this, and I think I'm not a huge social media person, but I think I'm gonna post this on my social media. I don't even know if I have any followers. I'm kind of dry. You don't see much. But I think this is important. And it says, together we make a great team. The board of directors, the superintendent, district leadership team, administrators, teachers, parents, support staff, all Waterloo Community Schools employees, never forget the difference that you make. And it's important. Like I said, I didn't have anything written down, and then Director Cox went, then Director Matlock, Director Knight, and Director Ewing, and Director Mills, and Director Schmidt, and it all kind of tied together, and they did most of the work for me. But focusing on the positives. So as I mentioned, we a few of us had an opportunity to go to the IASB convention in Des Moines a couple of weeks ago. And I had an opportunity to attend a meeting with the UEN steering committee. And I sat in between two of our UEN districts. And some more of the representation, but I ended up sitting in between Cedar Rapids Community School District, a representative from them, and a representative from the Dubuque Community School District. And just hearing their stories, and it was shortly after the vote, and they both had failed bonds. And they weren't looking at me, but they were looking at us with a sense of envy, because they really don't have a plan. And as Director Schmidt said, when you look at the budget and you look at some of the challenges that we're facing right now, we've started a plan. So we're on our way. We're looking to, I don't want to say rights and wrongs, but we're looking to the future and to make this the best district that we could possibly make it. But we're going to need to work together as a team. And it's not just us behind this desk. It's not just the people that represent this ESC building. It's not just the top administrators within the district. It goes all the way down to the parents, the support of the community, the students. It's up to everybody. It's up to everyone to make sure this is seen through, and that we put our students in the best position to be successful. A couple of programs I do want to highlight, because we had this conversation as well. We had a good conversation about the extended core programs, and they're envious of our extended core program, our ELL, our behavior focused programs. So those are a few of our major programs that should be highlighted as well, and the work that those individuals are doing to put Waterloo in the forefront of education. And those are some challenging areas, and we all know that. But we are to be envied. So I don't believe we're too far off. We just have to keep telling our story, remain positive, and go into the future together. With that being said, want to get a few dates out here. My computer went off, so this will be the only board meeting that we have in the month of December. The next time we'll be in this room will be on January 12th at 5 p.m. December 22nd through January 2nd, we'll be on winter break, so no school. All offices and buildings will be closed December 24th through December 26th, and December 31st and January 2nd. And no school for students on December 19th. Did I get that date correct? Okay, so it's not in my notes. All right, I remember. So, is there anything else? Does the board members have anything else to add? Seeing nothing else?
Thank you, Crystal.
Yes.
Yeah,
This
thank
is
you,
this is
Crystal.
this is amazing and thoughtful. Yeah, and a candy cane. So, seeing nothing further, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion carried. We're adjourned. Thank you.